Life like this, I wish raindrops will fall. Come on. The pain. The pain of watching other teams play around this season. We are still the topic of everybody's conversation, though, you know. Cowboys, yep. We rule the nation, baby. Come on. Don't party like a cowboy party. Shout out to your Asmodeus. Cole in the house, what's good? Shout out to all of the drones. Life of a Cowboy fan, it's just what it is. We relentless. We ain't going nowhere, man. I promise you. Bring it. Right there. We ain't going anywhere. Come on. As I set up everything, we build it. We building this plane while it's in the air. For real. Come on. Be sure to hit that like button. Sharing is caring. It absolutely is. Come on. Jerry.
I want me some glory hole.
Come on, Jerry. Come on. And a thing but a chicken wing, baby. Hey, oh, let's go. Yep. Shout out to you, Tommy boy. Back at you guys again. Another flavor. What's up, everybody? I hope you guys having a productive day as you sip on your coffee, as you relax in time, and we sitting back, front row seats for the playoff, baby. Where the popcorn's at? We catching L's and everything. It's okay. It's okay. It's all good, man. Hey, I want the 49ers and the Green Bay to catch an L. This is from Cole, Cowboy. Like it could just be a forever tie, right? But that ain't gonna happen, man. That is not going to happen. Let me know if my audio is straight. Let me get into this cut a little bit better, man. Let me get into this thing a little bit better, man. I hope y'all all right. I know I'm all right. I'm okay, you know. It's a long week, man. It is, and knowing the possibilities and all of that stuff, man, it rules on your mind because you want what's best for this team, and knowing what we went through and knowing what we going through, it's still all the same, you know. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Let me know if you guys can see me and all of that good stuff. If you're on multiple platforms, let me know. If you guys can hear me pretty well, give me a thumbs up. That will work too. That would absolutely work. And Cowboy Nation. Okay. Watch this. See, I knew it would work that way. You know, I'm playing around with it on my Twitter. I had to create. Look, I had to jump through some oops on Twitter. I had to create a burner account so that I can go live. So it's a burner account on my Twitter. So you can go there, support the nation. Let me see if it's cooking right now. And we should be live. Yeah, we live. They can see my face. I'm grinning because I'm winning, baby. So restreamed and changed up some things, but it's all good. It's always good about, you know, making the necessary adjustments. And the Cowboys, I just know, man, if we just move a few things, we don't have to move a lot, just a few things, and this team will make it, right? Oh, so close, man, so close, but no cigar. Who all in favor? You know, just a few things. We don't have to make a lot of moves, just a few little things. Oh, my goodness, man, missed opportunities. And it hit me, you know, sometimes I'll be sitting back thinking, like with this particular team, coaching plays a major role, right? I've seen that there are some Mike McCarthy apologists out there, and I feel them. I came at Mike McCarthy, with a very aggressive mindset. I want him to be a certain way, but I know that he's not. So his timid reactions sometimes to me seems as if though it's got a lot of beta male mentality in it. It's like sometimes, just hear me out, Cowboy Nation. Sometimes I view it as if I'm the coach. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm talking to these guys, like nervousness. Hey, even when you go into prayer, I look at it like, I just thought that, somebody like in that locker room, just from a person of faith, would say, hey, man, what y'all nervous about? God have not given me the spirit of fear. What are you guys doing? We've been here before in this moment. Dak Prescott, don't you remember? You've been in a wild card game before. Ezekiel Elliott. What are you nervous about? Or whoever it could be. It could have been none of those guys. Could have been somebody else that's nervous. And then I just look at the team in general, and I look at the stats of what we did all throughout the year, like the things that worked. Like, for example, capturing the edge, running on the edge, or things that you learn in high school and middle school. I mean, they playing quarters, attack the underneath. It may seem difficult, but it's simple. Like, let me get a few plays going, coach. It's just like, coach, let me get a few plays going. Let me get my playmakers the ball. I love what Cedric Wilson was able to do all year, and Dalton Schultz, for crying out loud. But they supposed to be the backup singers, right? When you see, like, there's nothing wrong with being the backup singer, by the way. But you would think that if I'm the coach and if my career is on the line, supposedly, that I'm going to make sure I got CeeDee Lamb some touches. Why? First-round draft pick, man, in 2017. I got Amari Cooper some touches. Why? Shoot, he's $20 million just off the money alone, baby. I trust him. If I fall down and lose, you can say, well, Law, you lost by using your best tools. But, man, I don't want people to view the body of me and say, man, this dude got into a gunfight and he pulled out the machete. Like, he got a automatic, dude got a bazooka over here, a silencer. He got all of these weapons. But, man, it's a doggone shame what happened to Law. What happened to him? Man, Law was a good dude, man. But he ran into that gunfight with a machete. They say he nicked one guy. He survived. But Law, man, look, man, he came into that gunfight with just a machete. And that's what the Cowboys did against the 49ers. In their own home. That's all I'm feeling, y'all, man. The other team literally bust down our door. They literally said, y'all know what I'm about to play. FBI, open up! And that's them with the gun, too. Oh. I said, man, they bust down our door, and we were the ones timid. Or then we got comfortable. It was too late. It was like too late. If only we play 5 quarters, right? Jerry Jones and John Stephen Jones, y'all on the ruling committee. Can y'all opt for the NFL since you added an extra game? Can we have 5 quarters now? If the game was 5 quarters, maybe the Cowboys would have a stronger chance, huh? Y'all like, man, no, law ain't right, baby. Your law is not right, man. Y'all laughing. Law ain't right, man. They come in there, law with the machete. Yeah. And I'm telling y'all, I recovered. And I'm telling y'all, you should see the first dude, man. I nicked him bad.
Fatality.
So I can add a little bit more light to the room. It's been difficult, people calling us soft. And then I'm sitting here like, no, we ain't soft. It's the aficionados. It's everybody else. And then all of a sudden, the coach said, yeah, we was timid. We was nervous at the altar call. At prayer, we was nervous. I'm like, man, the people need to. And we, look, all that week, it's the funniest part of it all. I gotta laugh. No. We over here, the content creators, like, man, if we telling y'all, the people that's watching, hear me out, the people that's watching, we telling y'all, we ain't scared. We ain't never scared. If y'all scared, go to church. We ain't scared of the 49ers. In return, now I just wish that we could talk directly to the players if they just lived off of my energy. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they'll sit there and say, man, we going to bust through them 49ers. They didn't have nobody in that locker room to say, hey, they coming in our house. They got to come through our door. We own everything, But they said, oh, it's a playoff game. I'm timid. I'm nervous. I'm scared.
FBI, open up! Oh, no!
We scared. No. I just wish if Mike McCarthy said that they was kind of nervous a little bit, I just wish he would just yell out some names. Since he already put it out there, I wish he would have said, hey, man, Jordan Lewis was nervous, or you just ran out the person's name instead of saying collectively, because now we don't know. I can guarantee you it shouldn't be Parsons. It shouldn't be J. Ron Curse, It had to be somebody else. Maybe it was Greg Zuerlein or somebody. It couldn't have been the team collectively, right? Come on.
But right now we're going to ask the man himself. I don't know if he'll talk about it, but joining us now on the ticket hotline, the Cowboys owner and GM, Jerry Jones. Good morning.
Jerry!
Hey, good morning, man.
Morning. Sorry about the loss.
Well, that's not that big a deal. Franchise still worth billions of dollars.
See, I was afraid of that.
Let's look at the positivities.
Okay.
Look at the positivities. No, I understand. It is a fairly depressing day for the Cowboy fans. It's over, and I'm done. Let's go ahead and lower me into hell, because it's clear this franchise ain't going to win another Super Bowl before my illegally harvested organs fail. So,
oh my gosh,
I can't believe it. It's another year, and I paid an enormous amount of money so I can sit home and watch somebody else hoist that Lombardo trophy.
Lombardi, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I know exactly what's going to happen. 10 minutes after I'm in the ground, the Cowboys are going to win like 5 more Super Bowls. While I'm down there clinking cocktail glasses with Satan.
Hey.
Well, I'm just telling you the truth there, George.
Well, you
Straight
have
up.
You have been the one constant of all this the last 26 years.
I know. Hey,
Look at my guy JR sent me,
playing
man.
there in the sleeper cell yesterday?
Let me know if y'all
That's what
get
I
this
call our stadium, the sleeper cell.
Boy, that stadium is driving everybody crazy. It's getting in the way.
I know it. That's why it's a sleeper cell. It's infiltrated the organization, and it works against us. Oh, Jesus really did turn on that X-ray machine during that one offensive possession, didn't it?
Man, that thing is so bright.
So bright. It's funny now. It's funny. It's so idiotic. It's just funny.
You my guy sent
But
me this.
I was very excited and nervous for the start of that game. I almost filled up my adult diaper. Got it to about 90% because I just kept having accidents. I was so excited. And Jerry Jr., he sensed I was upset, and as a result, he filled up his adult diaper, too. We're an adult diaper family.
You both had a weird look on your faces, so.
Did you notice that?
Yeah.
A lot of weird looks going on up in that family suite yesterday. And our offense was about as lively as Bob Saget yesterday.
Man,
Jerry.
that's way too soon.
Yeah,
for
that's
that.
too soon, man. Come on, man.
What are you doing?
I swear our offensive line, they can't sit down on the bench without getting 12 flags thrown on them.
It is incredible.
Isn't it? What's going on with that? That's coaching, isn't it?
I think it is, yeah.
I had about 15 cardiac events yesterday. Most of them all triggered by them penalty flags. I tell you, I get so nervous every time I see that yeller.
I bet.
At one point, Stephen passed me the mustard from a hot dog, and I started clutching my chest. Heart attack again. We just left the paddles out. Never put them back in the medical closet all day long.
Hey, by the way, up in the suite, did they have it on Nickelodeon or CBS?
Oh, Nickelodeon. Jerry Jr. insisted on it. Spalding loves it, too.
I figured.
You get Spalding real excited. Real excited. My first order of business today is to drop off a pizza box to Mike McCarthy's office with a pink slip right on top of it.
Well, we were going to ask about that. I guess we just got our answer.
That's my first order of business. Second order of business is to keep floating that bogus story that Kellen Moore is a real hot, desirable property.
You want him plucked from you.
Somebody please take him off our hands. I'm tired of him calling all these high school trick plays at inopportune times.
Yeah.
And how much did I pay for Dak and Zeke?
A lot of money.
A lot of money.
You're paying around $55 million a year.
Oh, good God. Kill me. And I thought I wasted money on Gene's art.
Well, you may have.
I waste just as much on players.
They do crazy.
They can't win the big one.
Oh, man, Jerry, just seems like the same thing every year.
And I have to confess there, Jeb, that I was the one who called for the Dak quarterback draw.
That was your idea?
That was my idea. I called it down in there, and I wish I could say the devil made me do it, but the devil was even begging me not to call that either.
Oh, you can call plays from up there, huh?
Yeah, I have a little earpiece, little Secret Service looking deal, right directly into Mike McCarthy's oversized headphones. But I am going to clean house today.
Wow.
Okay.
Literally. Because I took an Elin Wood signature 9-iron to our living room and all the kids' rooms last night in frustration.
Oh, no.
I wrecked Steven's Lego collection and Jerry Jr.'s Barbie doll collection. And I tore through Gene's artwork with that thing. I got an insurance adjuster out here right now. I did over $40 million worth of damage to our Jones family compound.
Oh, that's no way to handle a loss.
Tell you what, it was fun doing it, though.
It made you feel better?
Oh, my God, I've never felt more alive.
Wow.
Last time I felt that alive, I was in a steakhouse restroom.
All right.
Oh, wow.
I don't want to tell you what I was doing there.
We almost made it through without that reference.
Well, aren't you happy it's the last time of the year you get to talk to me?
Yeah, it's been a long year, Jerry. Long year.
I know, and I'm going to go into hiding, and I will emerge with a completely new face and a completely new identity.
Okay. We'll look for that.
And I will take over this town. Just get ready for the new GM of the Dallas Cowboys, Larry Jones.
Larry Jones. Okay.
What hit you?
Wow, you're finally going to give up that job, that title.
Jerry? Oh.
I guess that's the last we ever hear of Jerry. Let's be on the lookout for Larry.
Larry.
Shout out to 1310, the ticket, man. Hilarious bit that they do, man. And shout out to my guy JR, man. He sent me this this illustration, Jerry Jones, man. You know, the oh my gosh, man. Oh, man, let me know if you got it. You know, let me know if you guys got the picture right there. Oh, my goodness, man. Appreciate everybody for watching, man. Y'all some good sports, man. That's not the actual Jerry Jones, by the way. That's a disclaimer. That's Larry Jones, by the way. That was Larry Jones, not Jerry Jones. And Cowboy Nation, I made some of y'all smile because some of y'all was sitting there saying, I can't stand this week. The old me, when after the Cowboys lose, right, I literally don't turn on ESPN. Back in the days, like year 2000, 2001, 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, whatever, you know. I literally don't turn on the TV. You know, that was the only reason why we had TV, you know, for to hook up your PlayStations, right? And Sports Center, when Sports Center was Sports Center, you know, when ESPN was really ESPN. And then, of course, that's when Cold Pizza came out and everything, you know. and it is what it is. But it have not been the same. You know, everything is just constantly Cowboys, 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 Cowboys nowadays. Look, I kid you not, there's more topics today probably on the Cowboys than there are the teams that's actually playing in the playoff this weekend. Let me know where I'm lying. Let me know. It's always Cowboys, 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 Cowboys. And what happened here is that a lot of people watch the Cowboys and they think the fan base is what you call that, entitled or privileged or what have you. But, man, we get mad just like everybody else, man. We want our team to win. And 3 playoff victories since 1996. That's a long time to only have 3 playoff victories, man. And there was a chart. I don't have it right on me right now, but I should have screen captured it and show it to you guys. And it's sad, man. The Jets got more playoff victories than we do, you know. And when we look at everything, we've been sitting there like, man, we still support this team. Our love affair for this team is so loyal, and we're not going anywhere. Brian says he missed Stuart Scott. Yeah, man, that's when football was like really, you know. If they do make a little joke, they just touch on it a little bit and they off of it, right? But now they got 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 segments, you know. You know, they got all of these segments. And Trey Craig says trade for Russell Wilson. Did you see Russell Wilson play this year? Matter of fact, I'm still mad at Russell Wilson from last year. Oh, I'm still mad at Russell Wilson. And, you know, I told you guys I normally don't do fantasy football, but last year was my first year doing fantasy football. I was kicking butt all year. Then Dak got hurt. Everybody I picked, by the way, I thought it was a curse because I thought it was me. Everybody I had on my fantasy team got hurt. So I had to go switch off. I had Dak Prescott as my QB1 and Russell Wilson as my QB2. And all he had to do was to play. It just finished out the season. That joker fumbled the bag. I'm still mad at Russell. We had some good stuff on the line for that fantasy. Look, Russell Wilson is the reason why I no longer play fantasy football. And the last time think about this. Last time Dak Prescott won a playoff game, it was against Russell. And now you want Russell over here? It'd be just our luck we get Russell Wilson and Dak go to Seattle and we play them in the playoff and Dak go on to this winning thing, you know, and we got Russell Wilson and Sierra doing the 1-2 step all the way around Dallas, you know. Yeah, you seen Russell? Yeah, man, he was at Concrete, you know, him and Sierra, there's 1-2 stepping, you know. At least Law Nation is consistent, unlike our offense. Appreciate you, Jay Versick. Right. Win, lose, or tie. We Cowboys, yeah. Russell Wilson won the Super Bowl and lost the Super Bowl. I can't really say that Russell Wilson won the Super Bowl by himself. That Legion of Boom, baby, was something nasty. He was averaging, Russell Wilson, that entire season was averaging 190 yards a game throwing the ball. And then when he got rid of all of his weapons, he had only one piece left. They refused to let that second Super Bowl be the MVP of the man that eat the Skittles. What's his name? Marshawn. And I blame Russell for some of the success that the Patriots had with Tom Brady. God dog, Russell. All you had to do was put the ball in the belly of Marshawn Lynch. Everybody's selling pure nonsense. Shout out to you, Tyson. Appreciate you. That's what ESPN stands for. Ken Art says if we can't block or get 50 rushing yards, it doesn't matter who we have as a quarterback. I mean, you 1,000,000% right. I recall, and I keep using this as a reference because in my time, he was like the Pat Mahomes, John Elway. John Elway of the people time now. You know, John Elway can throw that thing all the way around. He can throw it. that joker can throw until he played against the Washington football team. They got their butt handed to him in that Super Bowl. But that's a story of a different day. John Elway can throw that thing all the way around. But he didn't win it, and he didn't get far into the playoff until they fixed things around him. Solidified their defense. He had Ed McCaffrey, right? Y'all remember him? Rod Smith, Shay Sharp. That boy had some weapons. Steve Atwaters, I believe. Boy, shoot, that Broncos team was loaded. They had to put some pieces around it. Who remember that Broncos team? Who remember that Broncos team? But what happened here is people will eventually forget all of those names. You notice, and they'll only remember John Elway. Well, they had some dogs over there on that team. He didn't do it by himself. I go back to tell you this. Brett Favre, me growing up seeing Brett Favre throw the ball. Shout out to Mississippi quarterbacks. Rushing yards are the hardest. Yeah, them rushing yards. But appreciate you, Kennard. And here's the thing. Brett Favre, when he won his Super Bowl, they had to stack him. Shoo. Who remember Dorsey Levens, right? Who remember that kid, Desmond Howard, and all of those boys? Shoo. Rob Smith. I said Rod. Is it Rod or Rob? And his name was Ed McCaffrey for the Denver Broncos. Yeah. All right, so let's listen to a Hall of Famer. It was Rod. And Antonio Freeman was on that team. Oh, you talking about for the Green Bay Packers, right? Shoot, Green Bay Packers, they threw a parade. They threw a parade when Michael Irvin and Troy Aikman was going on their downfall. It's like, yeah, we can finally win us something now. Yeah, and Reggie White, yep. Let's listen to the playmaker. Not the playmaker. I always like to do this. Troy is always the even kill guy, and the playmaker is always going to be everywhere. So let's listen to Troy first.
With the Hall of Famer, former Cowboys quarterback Troy Aikman, it's brought to us by Licor 43 and the original Cara Hero, and BDO Accountants and Advisors. Morning, Troy.
Good morning, guys.
I don't know if you've been keeping up with this or not, but since you retired, the Cowboys haven't sniffed the Super Bowl, and the story continues as we go to 26 years, and they're a one-and-done in the postseason. We were just talking about every year it's disappointing if your team gets knocked out, but, boy, frustration really growing around here because this looks a lot like a lot of other postseasons over the last 26 years.
Yeah, high expectations, and I talked about it last week that I thought the NFC was wide open. I thought the AFC was wide open. The two teams going into the postseason that I just didn't feel that you could make much of a case for were Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, but everybody else I thought had a pretty good chance. You can make an argument for why they could go all the way, and yet I think from Dallas's standpoint, to draw San Francisco. We didn't have a San Francisco game all season until Week 18 when they played the Rams, and so got a chance to dive into them and was really impressed. And I've been impressed with Kyle Shanahan for a long time. And I think if I were starting a team today and I could pick any head coach I wanted, I think it would be Kyle Shanahan is who I would hire. And so they're.
Ooh, that's a reigning endorsement for Kyle Shanahan. What about y'all? If you could start a team, if you could just erase all coaches, right? And you had to pick your coach first out of all of the 32 teams, or, any coach just sitting in retirement, who would you really go with? Would you really go with a Kyle Shanahan? Is he like the brilliant of the brilliancy? Shout out to you, Thomas Hicks. Appreciate you for being a new subscriber. I want to know, you guys, Bill Belichick again. Mike Vrabel. Okay. Sean Payton, that's from Lance Bell. Bill Cowher. Be spitting over everybody, baby. And he was spitting on people before the pandemic. I see a lot of Sean. I see a lot of McVays. Belichick. Okay. Tony Dungy. Okay. So you can go with the youth. You can go with the disciplinary type of coach. Shoot. Hey, somebody say go to heavens and pull Tom Landry's out. Pull Tom Landry's out of the heavens. Yeah. Jimmy Johnson. Okay. Jimmy. Okay. Are you more of a disciplinary? Like, we just talking, having a conversation. Do you really want a disciplinary coach, like a Parcells, like a no-nonsense type of guy? Or do you want that players coach? I think McVay is more of a players coach. I think that Kyle Shanahan, he's more of like a even kill guy, right? Brandon Staley, okay. Bill Walsh, he's innovative. I feel you on that. Mike Tomlin, he's a very accountability guy. He's going to hold you accountable. Even in a loss, he's just looking at you like this. He's a no-nonsense guy. John Madden, he was pretty good. Dennis Green, let him off the hook. Dennis Green, boy. Dennis Green, baby. Shout out to him, man. Mike Singletary. He said, what Mike Singletary told old boy, can't win with him, Oh my gosh, man. Some of my coaches of my hue love to have those spotlighted moments. Don Shula, oh my God, Don Shula won some games in his time coaching. Disciplinary coach. Yeah. Hard-nosed coach. I see y'all reading y'all. Okay. You play to win the game. Herm Edwards. I think Herm Edwards would be low-key sabotaging games for us because I think he's a die-hard. He's a die-hard Eagles guy, Oh, my gosh, man. Let's listen to more of what Troy had to say in this piece right here. But just thinking about what Troy, how he played, he would fit pretty well in Kyle Shanahan's system. And on top of that, if you have the running back like in Ezekiel Elliott, that would work pretty well too, or Emmitt Smith or Tony Pollard in Kyle Shanahan's system. Matter of fact, hear me out, I think that Dak Prescott will look remarkable in a Kyle Shanahan system. He'll work wonders.
The team's just built, as I said, a lot like us, and it's different and unique from the way most teams are built in today's NFL, but it's a formula that's won a lot of football games over the history of the league. And so for Dallas to face them in the wild card game, I thought it would be a really tough ball game. I could see certainly Dallas winning that game, but I could see San Francisco winning. And the thing that you hate, which is what happened to Dallas, and it seems that it's happened more times than not, when you go through a regular season, you get into the postseason, you're positioned pretty well, you feel that you've got a good team.
Nobody select Buddy Ryan. Nobody put a Buddy Ryan in the chat. How dare y'all? All right? All right, let's go. Oh, before I hit play again, what was that coach that cried all the time? I think he coached for Atlanta, and then he coached for the Chiefs. Y'all put his name down in the chat. I would like to have that crying coach. I think he coached for the Rams or somebody. What was his name? He was a legend. I would like to have him around. At least we get to see some tears. Vermeil. It was Dick Vermeil, right? What was his first name? Vermeil. Yeah, let's have him out there. At least he'd be crying louder. Yeah, Dick Vermeil. Yeah, we'd be all tears over here, man. He was the weeping coach. You had to have passion, man, like him. I love the fact. I didn't love the fact that he was crying, but I love the fact that he had passion, heart. You know what I'm saying? All right. So what was the other coach that said playoffs? What was that guy name? Let's have him around. Oh my goodness, playoffs? What was his name? Y'all look, all of these old school coaches, man. St. Louis Rams coach, Chuck Noll. That's the Steelers coach. Yeah, Jim Mora. Yeah, let's bring Jim Mora. All right, let's go.
Then you can't, it's the playoffs. So you just don't want to look back and not play your best football. And that's what I've always loved about the postseason is that you can't make any excuses. It is what it is, and you have to go out and play, and you have to play at a high level. And if you don't, you go home. Whereas in the regular season, you can always come up with various reasons as to why you didn't get it done, why you didn't play so well, and always say, well, we'll regroup and get better, and we'll play next week.
Right.
That's not the case in the postseason, and too many times Dallas just hasn't played their best football when they've gotten in.
We saw this team play at a pretty high level the first half of the season against teams like Tampa Bay and the Chargers and the Patriots. Why couldn't they do that in the second half of the season against good teams, and especially in this game against San Francisco?
Preach.
Well,
Come on,
let
me
hear you.
It's a good
question, and it's a hard one to really figure out. I don't know that anybody necessarily has the answer to that. Felt that Dallas was certainly getting healthy around the right time and getting some key guys back and all that goes with that. But yeah, they just never really quite found their footing. And the games where they played well in the second half of the season or the last month of the season were against teams that basically had their junior varsity on the field. Washington was without a number of people. The Eagles didn't play anybody in the last game of the season, and I don't. But as we talked about, sometimes it doesn't necessarily matter who you play if you can gain some confidence going in. But the other teams, when people got real excited about them, and you can only play who you play,
right?
But they just weren't very good football teams. And then when they played good teams, they seemed to struggle a little bit. And of course, they ran into a good team against San Francisco. But just too many mistakes. The penalties, as we know in this game against San Francisco, really impacted that game, and it did throughout the season. It's just not winning football when you're the most penalized team in football. It's a hard thing to overcome, and I think you've got to be so good to be able to win games when you are getting penalized like that, and that's not typically the case with most teams. As rarely do you see a team that beats themselves that badly that's able to overcome it on a regular basis.
Boy, to act.
I can't pick apart what Troy Aikman said on that one. But one thing I can tell you that, he's right on the fact that we can't help who we play. And the way the structure is, and it's going to be the same again next season, the NFL like to put the divisional games toward the latter part of the season. And if anything, the Cowboys got our division's pretty much team's number. I mean, if you look at Dak Prescott's overall record, it's less than 10 games that he lost within the confines of this division. I think he's like 26 and like 6 or something like that, or 27 and 6 or something like that, some crazy number that he pretty much owns the NFC East. Now, is that a situation that you can say this to Dak Prescott because he's owning the NFC East?
Shame. Shame. Shame.
No, you can't say that. You can't say that's a shame. If anything, it's a good situation to be in. I wouldn't even know how I would feel if Dak Prescott played for the Washington football team or the Eagles or the Giants and we had whoever, and every time we say, man, when we play against that number 4 guy, dog, man, we about to lose. That's been a reality for all of the teams in the NFC East, right? Outside of a few losses that we occurred on this side of the table. So how can we move on from that point? It's pretty much a moot point, because what Dak Prescott got to do now is he got to be ramped up to the next level. And trust me, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with holding somebody accountable of beating the team that's on a higher level and holding that against them. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a challenge. So Dak Prescott this offseason should be looking at it like, okay, when I do get a chance to play those teams that's above 500 or those playoff caliber teams, I got to make sure that I'm the sharpest knife in the draw, right? I can't have these little small hiccups, because these little small things is going to show up even more when playoff time hit. And I think that now, hear me out, Cowboy Nation, this team should always go to the playoff as long as 4 is under center, right? That should be the small goal. We go into the playoff. We win in our division. And at least for the 2022 season, I don't want to hear anybody talk about Super Bowl, Super Bowl, Super Bowl, Super Bowl. No. I don't care if we 13-0 at the time, and we got a few more games left to play. We should be only looking at it one day at a time, not ripping off this and not ripping off that. We should look at it like playoff game, win the playoff game, and don't be nervous. Those should be our thought tracks. We get into the playoff, you're not nervous, you've been here before, everybody getting paid checks, you're not going to get paid, you know what I'm saying, more or less if you win or lose the playoff. No, you already getting paid, you're under salary, that's why it's called a salary. So playoff game, win one. I don't want to hear none of the beat writers. I don't want to hear the Cowboys players saying, hey, our goal is to win the Super Bowl. Bull sugar. Your goal should be winning a playoff game and not being nervous. That should be the goal. Show of hands if you guys agree. and tell me why if you disagree. If you disagree, then we have the conversation. Right? It's just like somebody doing bad in middle school and they saying, I'm finna graduate from college. No, you need to get your butt through middle school so you can get to high school. And then when you get out of high school, then you can start talking about graduating from college. But let's get accepted first. That's the logic reason right there. I'm finna graduate with my master's, my PhD. Man, you struggling in middle school. Yeah, it's good to think those things, but keep that to yourself. That should be the mindset of the Cowboys right now. I don't want to hear, hey, for the 2022, when the media start this and they start evaluating our team, we need to just say, hush, media. Hush. We don't want to hear that this offensive line is a dominant offensive line, because they've been saying that stuff since 2014. Look at this offensive line. Oh, look at the brilliancy of all of this front five. The front five of the world, or whatever they gave the nickname to. No. Coach Marv, appreciate you. Not Dak, the Cowboys team win. Game team wins game. Yeah. Well, not just Dak. Yeah, I agree. But at the end of the day, Dak Prescott is Jon Snow. I just finished watching Game of Thrones. I know I'm behind. But Dak Prescott is Jon Snow right now. He's the leader. Regardless. And somebody's going to have to resurrect him. I don't know if we got the lady with the red hair over here, but somebody's going to have to resurrect Dak Prescott and say, get back onto this duty. You the leader. People are going to fall behind you. If not, they didn't stop generating quarterbacks since Dak Prescott. But neither here nor there. Let's listen to more of Troy.
Accent what you're saying about playoff football and running the football. Seems like anytime you bring up running the football, everyone's ready to move on to, but when are you going to throw it and run the touchdown play? But every postseason game last week, with the exception of one, the team that won was the team that was able to run the ball. Even Bucks Eagles, and I almost throw that one out because it seemed like such a mismatch. But especially the ones that got out of hand. Rams Cardinals 140-61. Kansas City 106-55 over Pittsburgh in rushing yards. 174-89. Right. Bills over Patriots. As much as we've tried to change this game, it's still, especially this time of year, it's up front and your ability to smash that thing.
Well, I think it's about imposing your will physically, and to do that, it's usually in the run game. I think teams that are able to run the football have a mindset and a physical style of play that permeates through the entire team. I've always felt that the offensive line is really the heartbeat of the entire team, and when you have a tough physical offensive line, then usually you have a tough physical football team, and it carries over then to the defensive side of the ball. And I thought what was interesting last week, as we were getting ready for our game with Tampa Bay and Philadelphia, is in visiting with Bruce Arians, no one threw the ball more than Tampa Bay in the regular season this year. And really under Bruce Arians over the last few years. Last year they ran the ball a lot more in the postseason, and Leonard Fournette had a great run, and they ended up winning the Super Bowl. And in visiting with Bruce, he said that in postseason football, just like last year, they wanted to run the ball more. He felt that you have to. Now, they thought they were going to get Leonard Fournette back, so I'm not sure exactly what the numbers were, but that was the approach, and that's the philosophy. And I do agree with what you just said. There is a commonality between those teams. And San Francisco, of course, is committed to doing that as much as anybody. And I think a lot of it depends on who you're playing and what the other offense is capable of doing. I don't think you go into every game with the same blueprint as to how you're going to win the game, whether it's running the ball or
Hold on. Let me stop Troy right quick. Shout out to you, Coach Marv. You said basically Troy didn't win games by himself. Basically, I'm just paraphrasing what you said. And people fail to realize at the end of the day, Troy is going to get majority of the credit, right? Only a few people are going to point out the offensive line. And, of course, you're looking right at Emmett, one of the greatest running backs of all time, and who still holds the record of most yards ever rushed in the National Football League. So a lot of people will gloss over that and say, hey, man, Troy got 3 rings and 7-time or 6-time Pro Bowler. So people are going to look at that and forget that even in 2019, what year did Pat Mahomes won the Super Bowl, right? The year that he won the Super Bowl, it wasn't because of Pat Mahomes' arm, believe it or not. It was because of the putting the ball in the belly of the running back. And people going back and forth with me about the brilliancy or what have you of, dare I say, Pat Mahomes. But I was telling people, like, look, you got to run the ball. And they ran the ball efficient. On top of that, their offensive coordinator, he got all of his stuff out of the mud as being a running backs coach. A lot of people don't understand that. And it's hard to take a third year, hear me out, a third-year offensive coordinator to understand the nuances of everything as it relates to football, and that's Kellen Moore. You see, let me just, and I got a super chat that I want to hit too. J-Rod says, I'm going to say it, and I'll continue to say, we as Cowboys, we as Dallas Cowboys would never win anything until Jerry steps down, or worse, DC for life, suckers. I appreciate you, man, J-Rod. I appreciate you. But I feel you on that. Here's the conversation, too. And a lot of people would not get this. Kellen Moore didn't get it the right way. He didn't. And I think that Kellen Moore is a brilliant guy. I'm not throwing salt or shade at the man. What I'm saying is that when you look at all of the other young coaches that's out there, they had to get their stuff out of the mud. They had to go through training. You know, they pledged. They ain't no paper, bro. You know what I'm saying? These guys ain't giving it. These guys made it. And they crawled through the burning sand. Kellen Moore was given a certificate and said, hey, here you go. You got papers. Hey, you went from rapid promotion. Hear me out before y'all crucify me and shank me with the butter knife. You know, Eric Bieniemy was on the Kansas City team as it relates to coaching staff since 2013. He had to work himself and work his way all the way up, right, to being an offensive coordinator, learning, going through multiple tests and series and situations, right? Whereas Sean McVay, he had to start it and get it out of the mud. He's young by age, but he was already training and going through all of the ropes or what have you. Shanahan too, you know. But Kellen Moore, he went rapid quarterback coach, from quarterback coach to offensive coordinator, just like that. Most people had to go through years of training and going through ups and downs. This man just said, okay, you the quarterback of the team. The next year we cut you and now you're the quarterback coach, and now you're the offensive coordinator who's interviewing for a head job. Now, here's my thing on Kellen Moore. Newsflash, he's not trash. I think he's very brilliant. But here's the thing, though, Cowboy Nation. Here's the thing. There are going to be growing pains. You can't – look, that's why they call it experience. That's why when I told you guys, a new broom can sweep the floor good. But that old broom can get those corners. And right now, Kellen Moore is not of that caliber. I'm not in the locker room. I'm not in the meetings. But I just get a hint that if Dak Prescott is doing something terrible, wrong with his mechanics, Dak Prescott is only going to take what Kellen Moore tells him with a grain of salt. Because at the end of the day, Dak is looking at it like Kellen, just speaking from a man perspective. Man, I took your job, dude. You can show me. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I got you. He's only going to take it with a grain of salt of what he's trying to tell you. I got you, man. Okay, It's hard, baby. Shoot. Byron Leftwich getting it out of the mud. Yeah, he's still getting it, by the way. But let's listen to more of what these guys have to say. And then the age difference between Byron Leftwich and Kellen Moore is a whole lot different as well. All right, let's listen to more.
Or throwing the football. And the great thing about Dallas with this group, for the most part, maybe not quite as much this year. I know Zeke's been banged up. The offensive line hasn't been quite the same. But, they've had something that most teams don't have, and it's what we had, that if teams want to play coverage, then we could run the ball, and if they didn't, then we could throw the ball. Everybody talks about how well we ran the ball. The years that we won Super Bowls, you can go back and look. We were top 5. One year I know we were top 1. We were the top team in the league when we won the Super Bowl. That our yards per pass, we were number 1. So maybe we didn't throw it as much as San Francisco and Green Bay, but when we did throw it, we were really effective. We threw it better than anybody when we did throw it. We just didn't throw it as many times. So we had the best of both worlds, and Dallas has had that. But I do think that I heard you a moment ago saying, hey, what's the identity of the Cowboys?
Yeah.
And I think it's a good question because I'm not sure myself as someone who's watched them. And I say that because they did under Jason Garrett, they built the offensive line. That was really important to him and wanted to have a blueprint similar to what won us Super Bowls back in the 90s. And so they invested in the offensive line. Those players hit with Zach Martin and Tyron Smith and Travis Frederick and, so forth. And they've still invested in the offensive line, but I don't know that they're built around the strong running game that they were. Last week in the game against San Francisco, I think and it happened in our game with Philadelphia, and I commented on it if y'all watched the game, was it CeeDee Lamb? What did he have? 1 catch in the game?
Yep.
Is that right?
Right. Here you go,
so
y'all.
I watched that game because I'm getting ready for San Francisco this week, so I've studied the tape. And I was watching it really more from San Francisco's defensive perspective, but I also was keeping an eye on what Dallas was doing offensively. And, San Francisco rushed 4 guys for the most part. They blitzed occasionally, but they're a 4-man rush football team. But a lot of times when you say that, then you think, oh, well, they're playing coverage. Well, they mixed in some coverage, but there was a lot of single coverage on CeeDee Lamb. And I would tell you, as I said in our game last week at halftime, when they couldn't get the ball to Devontae Smith, when the Eagles couldn't, if it was back when I was playing, and I hate going back to that point because nobody cares. But what I see around the leagues, not just Dallas, it was in Philadelphia, I've seen it with a lot of teams, that a lot of these offenses, they want to scheme things. The coordinators it's all about scheme. Rather than this corner is playing soft, he's scared to death, just run the route tree. Just run a comeback, run a dig route, run a curl, run anything. And you're going to complete the pass whenever you want. And Irvin would have had 10 catches at halftime if they had played us the way that they played CeeDee Lamb in that game.
Y'all heard that. Appreciate you, Cornelius. Appreciate you for the donation there, Keith. he said Moore is a silver spoon coach. He has no accomplishment without Dak. If other players just do their job, Cowboys win hands down. Yeah. And like I say, Kellen Moore is a brilliant guy. I just think that his plays, he don't have anything to counter. But what Troy is, I guess, implying now is that, hey, man, rip that thing off, man, and go to CeeDee Lamb or go to Amari Cooper. Now, Dak is this guy right here. He like to see the receiver open, then throw it. The only guy that I've seen that he kind of like on a consistent level would throw that 50-50 is Gallup, and that's due to rapport. Gallup wasn't out there this past weekend, unfortunately. And that could have hurt the overall. Cedric Wilson was winning in the middle of the field a few games, and the 49ers made the necessary adjustments. On one of the plays that Cedric was open to, for God's sake, the son was the extra defender on Cedric Wilson. He couldn't even see the ball. Matter of fact, the cameraman thought it was smart to blind us all. You know, he gonna pan over and show us how hard it was for Cedric Wilson to see. Now, there's a casualty in war, and that's one of the things where you go with appearance versus, you know, having the stadium to be a benefit for you. Because quite often, believe it or not, by Jerry Jones having the stadium faced a certain way that it is, it's been more of a pain on us juxtaposed to the opposing team. Believe it or not, Cowboy Nation. And in quarters, I've seen people say, well, Law, why don't Dak just throw that thing deep? Well, that's what they're playing. They covering all of the deep passes. They taking that away. And they saying, Dak, teams since that Vic Fangio, I can't stand him because he literally said, I got it. Don't blitz Dak and just drop everybody deep. That's not a knock at Dak. That's really respecting him because him and Russell Wilson were one of the better throwers of the deep ball than any other quarterback in the National Football League. But now you got a couple of things you got to equate. Dak Prescott, now he don't tuck it and run it like he used to due to the injury that's playing on his mind. And when y'all hear me say this, I'm not being an apologist. I'm just calling it out, right? And on top of that, Dak Prescott, he second guesses his underneath routes, right? The slants, the little the little passes underneath the hitch, comebacks. If he's not 100% sure that they're going to win. Newsflash. Where the offensive line have its major problems at, believe it or not, is in the middle. Biotish, he can't bust through a wet paper bag, nor Connor Williams can knock over a paper cup. So you got both of those issues right there, whereas there's nowhere to go, really. When you look at it, 5 sacks or what have you from on the quarterback is terrible. And the third problem is with this team is that they refuse to run the rock on quarters defense. I can't make this stuff up. There should have been a situation where they had all of those DBs out there and they got a rushing 4. And the good Lord then said, all right, I'm going to sprinkle some situations for you to get Joey Bosa, Nick Bosa, what on those Bosa? I think it's Nick Bosa, right? Nick Bosa got hurt and Fred Warner got hurt, and you refuse to run the ball still. They rushing 4. And look at the attempts of rushing. They rushed it right in the middle. I can't make this stuff up. You run it right into the teeth of the defense. There's no outside runs. There's no guys being pulled. So I'm looking at it like, yeah, I get it. Dak Prescott didn't play up to par. And on that third down play that he threw the interception to, dog, they give you the underneath and you threw the interception anyway. That it was going to be a turnover. It was going to be forcing you to punt the ball anyhow. So it was a double negative. For one, even if Cedric Wilson catches the ball, you still had 8 to 10 yards to go, right, to get the first down, right? You was going to punt it anyway. You would have did better doing a draw at that point or substituting audible, putting the running back in instead of going 5 wide, whatever they did, and putting the ball in the belly of the running back, you kick the punt kick, you playing the fields, and you saying, okay, defense, make it happen again. We playing the field. It's a home game. The defense is figuring out the 49ers. Somebody says, who's this? Cowboy and Maverick says move Zeke to fullback. With the intel that I got now of Ezekiel Elliott with the PCL tear, if I knew that since week 4, this is when your alpha male come in, because I heard through this weeks or what have you, when they was talking about, hey, when you rest Ezekiel Elliott, they were sitting there in the press conference. I'm talking about the coaching staff was saying, well, who's going to tell Ezekiel Elliott? He come in with his hard hat. Bull sugar, you supposed to tell him. You the coach. You tell him, like, look, hey, we love you, Zeke, but, man, we trying to win the Super Bowl or a playoff game, and we need you for the playoffs. So what we going to do for the people that saying that Ezekiel Elliott is one of the better blockers in the National Football League, I give you that. There's nothing wrong with looking at Ezekiel Elliott in his eyes and saying, okay, well, we're going to put you and we're going to feature you in only on third downs. But first and second downs belong to Tony Pollard. That's rest. That's already making sure that you don't want to bench him. So you stroke his ego a little bit, saying, hey, man, we only going to bring you on third down. But I believe that I guess the Cowboys front office didn't want the hate from you guys that's watching right now to say, hey, man, Ezekiel Elliott is on a third down back now. Or they didn't want to leak the news out that he got a PCL tear. And the third of you guys have been like, bench him, cut him, he's hurt. You know, I know how that goes, right? So you got to play the political warfare. But the moment you just get out of that political mindset, shoot. Cowboys have been toting that ball with Tony Pollard and Corey. And newsflash, as far as the nervousness, Corey Clement had more experience than anybody on that roster as it relates to playoff time. So you think that a good change of pace running back would have been Corey. Stop looking at the salary. Look at the experience. That old broom that got those corners. Tony Pollard can't tell you how much, it feels to be in the playoff game. Ezekiel Elliott can only tell you about his limited amount of experience. Corey played at the highest level than any of these running backs that was played this past weekend. Put him in the game. And, yes, he can block. I digress. Let me go and rewind it just a little bit.
They had played us the way that they played CeeDee Lamb in that game. So I just don't quite understand that. It's interesting. I was at Madden's memorial service yesterday in Oakland, and Peyton Manning was there. And we got to talking about the game, and I was having this conversation with him, and he agreed that, more and more you just see that teams, the game's not that difficult. If I've got a great player at wide receiver and a corner is playing him single coverage, throw him the ball. Yeah. He's going to win most of the time, and that's what they do in Green Bay with Devontae Adams. But for some reason, a lot of other teams, including Dallas in that game on Sunday, and I'm sure that the coaches go back and look at that and say, man, why didn't we do that? They tried it. They did a couple times. They hit the one catch he had, and then they had another one where the DB played it pretty well. But for the most part, they just didn't take advantage of some of the looks that I think they had and they could have.
It's our weekly visit with the Hall of Famer Troy Aikman here on The Ticket. Almost every broadcaster or columnist, beat writer this week has described the Cowboys in that game as looking unprepared and undisciplined. Is that more on the players or more on the coaches? And what grade do you give Mike McCarthy for this season?
Yeah, what grade?
Oh man, I think it's both. I think it's the head coach is obviously that's where the buck stops, so to speak. Okay. That the coach is held accountable for everything, but I think the players also are responsible for that as well. Those are difficult conversations because unless you're in the building, you don't know exactly what's tolerated and what's allowed. I know that. Right. for me, and I'm not. I know the player is a little bit different. I think the amount of practice time,
what's the
what
grade,
you can
Troy?
do with players now, and that's why I do think that the collective bargaining agreement, as the owners got more and more of the percentage of the revenue sharing with the players then their rebuttal was, okay, we want less practice time, and so you work less, you get paid more. I don't quite understand that, because at some point I think as players you've got to make the argument that I want to be great, and if you want to be great, you got to work at it, and teams have to be together. So I don't like that part of it, but I do know that the players are coached differently than they were. I thought it was funny going back to our game against Philadelphia with Tampa Bay. Here, Bruce Arians is out.
Hey, Yarber says, political answer. I didn't know that Troy Aikman can backpedal like Deion Sanders, man. He's backpedaling, and by the way, the Buccaneers game, look what grade you give Coach. He ain't gonna shoot it. He ain't gonna cut his legs off from under his feet, man. Troy knows, baby. Troy was sitting there like, and that's a long yes or a no, or whatever grade that he's trying to give. Let's go. Let's see what he say, man. Come on, Troy. You beating
up there. He goes Woody Hayes on Andrew Adams, and I thought, wow, there's not many coaches in the league today that could get away with that within a locker room. So things are much different than they once were. I think as far as grading Mike, I think most people would probably say, that's a C, just because you come into the season and it's really what you're going to do in the postseason. I mean, fairly or unfairly, and I think it's fair, that the expectations are certainly high for the team, and they should be. It's a talented team. But sometimes maybe they're a little higher than they should be. And I think part of that is just that Jerry, at his core, is a salesman. He's an optimist. So he's always talking about Super Bowls. And we all understand that, this is Dallas. And that is the goal. And that, and that's the objective every year. But it's a long year to get back to January again, And so if you get into the postseason and you don't win a game, it doesn't, for this organization, and this is a good thing, it doesn't really matter what you do in the regular season. I mean, it's hard to look at any regular season and say, yeah, well, we were, 13-4 or 12-5 or 17-0 or whatever it is. If you don't do anything in the postseason, then you're really, at the end of the day, no different than the Jacksonville Jaguars or the New York Jets that didn't get in. And I think losing a play, and that, I'm not trying to suggest that every team that doesn't win the Super Bowl may as well have not played the year. I'm not saying that, because I know in '91 when we made it to the postseason finally, after not having been in the postseason for so long, that was a big accomplishment, and we were able to win a playoff game. But then we hit a period to where, hey, if you don't win the Super Bowl, it's a disappointment. In 1994, when we lost to San Francisco in the championship game, that was a disappointing year. There was no part of any of us that walked away from that season saying, yeah, this was a really successful season. So I think that fairly or unfairly, like I say, this is a team, I don't know, they've won 3 or 4 playoff games since '96. I mean, there's not a track record in the postseason, but yet it's a team that's expected to be in the Super Bowl each season. And so when you don't win a playoff game, I don't know how you can look at it really any differently.
And I don't know how much interaction.
Troy, baby, man, that joke. Troy backpedaling and moonwalking at the same time. All right, so he give Coach Mike McCarthy on air C. But I believe if you get him a few drinks and you go by the local bar, that C going to drop down to a D or an F. I mean, come on, let's be real with it. If he had to go and ruminate and talk all about the fish that could swim and also climb the tree and the dog that can bark at the moon to meet the cow that jumped over the moon and all of this, come on, man. If something good You're gonna say, yeah, that's good. You know, vanilla ice cream is cool. It tastes good. But Perlini cream is great. You know, he ain't gonna sit there and go back and forth. So he had to go all the way around to make the justification for Coach to be a C. So that means there's a lot of ambiguity right there. You know, Troy always hold down for his friends. Swayze, I appreciate you, man. All right, so yeah, it's vicious right there, man. 3 playoff wins since 1996. Y'all let me know if that's correct. 3 playoff wins since 1996. That's a long time to hold only 3 playoff wins since 1996. And that number, is that right? Y'all let me know. Let me know if that number right. And think about all of the things that occurred, you know. A $4-5 billion stadium, a $2.5 or $3 billion workout facility. Good grief, Frisco was built, you know, since that time frame. And we talking about Super Bowl? Shoot. We got to start saying to ourselves, man, collectively speaking, I ain't talking about all of y'all. We got to start saying to ourselves, man, the Cowboys need to get in the playoffs and win a playoff game. Multiple ones. That should be our Tupac and Biggie was ruling the rap during that time frame. You know, I think two wins by Tony Romo and 1 win by Dak Prescott. And newsflash, Dak Prescott haven't been here for 26 years, right? It may feel like it, but that's just the reality of it. So what I want to hear when we go through all of this offseason, the moment somebody say, hey, you know, Cowboys, man, we going to the Super Bowl, I'm going to be like, hush your mouth. Lean forward just a little bit. You know, don't shut that stuff up. I don't want to hear it. Shut it again. Cowboys going to the Super Bowl. You know, Cowboys going to win multiple playoff games. I can settle with that one. Or win a playoff game so we can get out of that uneven number, 3, you know. Come on, man. Look, can somebody do me a favor? Look up how many playoff, not Super Bowls, but look up how many playoff games Tom Brady won since that time frame. Just look him up and let's see, you know. Oh, my gosh.
Action you have with Jerry, I know it bothers him because he wants to win. There is no doubt about it. And I think he's made some changes over the years, maybe given a little more power to his son. And Will McClay, I think, has a big role in this organization. But I don't know. Like, what do you think his night was like Sunday night?
Well, not good. Not good. There's no question that Jerry he desperately wants to win a Super Bowl, and I get a chance to see all the teams, and this Cowboys team is really talented. I mean, really talented, and I know that you can poke holes in certain things, but when you look at them stacked up against the other teams in the field, you know, they talent-wise can play with anybody. And really, as far as their abilities and what we've seen from them at various times this year, we know when they're playing their best, they can beat anybody in the league.
Appreciate you. Mark says Mike McCarthy in his smug AZ has to go. Do you see that interview 100%? Excuses and he feels secure in his job. JJ will let his ego keep Mike McCarthy, and that's pathetic. Shout out to you, Mark. From my knowledge, I think Jerry Jones will have an interview tomorrow, not today. I think it's tomorrow. From my knowledge, if I'm a betting man, I'm looking at it like John Stephen Jones he would like to see Mike McCarthy stay, and I think Jerry is kind of like antsy. And talking about the news that's been leaked about Sean Payton. I mean, I told you guys like this before. It's just like waiting for, you know, Beyonce to say, okay, I'm finna get a divorce, I'm finna break up with Jay-Z. I don't think the Saints are going to just let Sean Payton go freely. I think that they're going to throw money at him. And think about the Saints. They was one game away of going to the playoff this year without their starting quarterback and a whole bunch of other things. So Jerry Jones is not the only billionaire, right? 27 wins for Tom Brady. Oh, wow, that's still a lot. So I don't think it's wishful thinking, dun-dun-dun. What my breaking news sound at, and I get it,
Breaking news.
Sean Payton over here at the Dallas Cowboys, the next coach for the Dallas Cowboys. That sounds good. It do. But I don't think that that's happening anytime soon. And we all would like to see Sean Payton over here, but I don't think that Sean Payton is the Sean Payton that we might think that Sean Payton is. I literally seen Sean Payton go 7-9 3 years in a row with Drew Brees, by the way. So I'm just saying, pump the brakes on Sean Payton being the guy that can walk on water, right? So I know that he probably be better than what we have here now, but let's be real. He's not scrutinized and he's not looked upon under a magnifying glass because he's in New Orleans. In Dallas, everything is magnified times 10 or more. So Cowboy Nation, pump the brakes. Pump the brakes.
But this has been hard for him, and this is a team. I heard you guys earlier that it's an organization that it's hard, I think, in order for them to keep an edge, and I think that's important because the facility that they practice at is amazing. It's the nicest in the NFL. There's tours that come through constantly. I mean, you're constantly reminded that you're a Dallas Cowboy and you're really popular. And you lead every sportscast at the top of the show. They're talking about the Cowboys, whether the team's good or not good, whether it's ESPN or NFL Network or all those Sunday morning shows. There is a segment every week, usually at the top, that talks about the Cowboys. And so they know that it's America's team. The players are the most popular.
Let's go with it.
They're selling the most jerseys for the most part because of all the attention that they get. So trying to pull that in and then give a team an edge and say, hey, we are the underdogs, and here's what that's not an easy task. So I think that's the challenge. That's the challenge for Mike McCarthy, and it's a challenge for the players to try to keep that. I know that when I was playing with Jimmy, I don't know.
Give it the story.
I don't know that we ever felt like we accomplished anything, to be quite honest. I mean, the more we won, the tougher he got.
I can just shut it down now. I don't have to play Michael Irvin. Oh, my gosh, man. I don't think that we will ever get that type of mentality back in here because that just is always going to bump heads, because the way that Jimmy coached, it was just like, I'm the alpha male in here. I'm the shortest guy. I'm short and stubby. Everybody bigger than me. But I'm going to make sure when I talk, everybody listen. And Jimmy didn't start off excellent, by the way. It was some growing pains with that. But he always had a hold of the guys, and he held them accountable, even the star-studded players. And he would get into you if you make a mistake. These guys that make these little mistakes now, they're going to get cushion, just a little bit. They get a little cushion from the coach. There's no scrutinizing on the spot or Johnny on the spot.
And there's something to be said for that.
You guys had an asthma field and everything.
Oh, yeah. And then later, what's funny about that is, the asthma field. And now Jimmy, Jimmy has asthma.
Does he?
Yeah, he does. When he got told he was going into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, he almost stopped breathing because of his asthma.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
He was so emotional about it, but
yeah.
I couldn't laugh about it then, but I laugh at him now. I have an inhaler, and I say, they got that asthma field.
Yeah, at least he knows where it is. Yeah, it's over there. Well, I see the forecast calls for possible snow and single-digit temperatures on Saturday night in Green Bay. Ought to be a awesome setting for what should be a really interesting game between the Packers and 49ers.
It's going to be fantastic.
Right.
These two teams, we've done some of these postseason games. It's always pretty memorable, and it is interesting though. At a time we talk about what's best for the players, that they're playing primetime night games in Buffalo and in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Right. It's gonna be nasty.
So,
Yeah, perfect.
lots of fans, come on.
Well, have a great weekend. Tell Joe we said hi. Have a good call on Saturday night.
I'll do it. All right, fellas. Thank you.
You bet.
That's mighty Troy Aikman, Cowboy Nation. Yo, man, you got some good points from there, man. I found out I never knew that Jimmy Johnson had asthma, for talking all of that noise. And he was weeping, too. Jimmy was weeping when he got that announcement that he's going to the Hall. Oh, my gosh. And I'll never forget, Troy was in the booth, and he was just crying, looking down. And I was telling a lot of people, man, that, some people don't believe in curse. I get you, some people just say, hey, life is just life, right? But I just believe in sometimes things that you do can affect others, And it just seems some things just don't seem right. Some things just don't seem right when you go to that Texas stadium and you look up and you see the playmaker's name, Emmett. You see Troy's name up there, and you don't see Jimmy's name up there. It's just not right, It's kind of like if Jerry really wanted to hit it to Jimmy, he put Barry Switzer's name up there. You'd be like, God, dog, how is that possible? But that's how it feels to a lot of people. And a lot of people, I'm on this vibration, low energy vibration, the low energy, you don't want to lose your chi, I think that collectively speaking, when you have that low vibration moment, those negative energies, I mean, that plays a major role, man. The year the Seattle Seahawks won the Super Bowl, they really believed in the 12th man. They really believed that they were the extra person on the field, the 12th man. And they would get so loud that it would show up on the earthquake, what they call that thing, it would show up on an earthquake. And you can look down using a certain system and see that the vibration was so loud. I can only imagine how much of an impact that was for those boys to win that one Super Bowl because of the 12th man. Because everybody had thought together and said, hey, we rooting for this team, come hell and high water. They got rid of Matt Flint, whoever that quarterback was, and they going with this young quarterback. They believed in him, right? They didn't have these wide receivers by name. They had a journeymans as wide receivers. They had Beast Mode, a guy that didn't make it in Buffalo land. So they were this team that just got together, I mean, nobody on defense. Richard Sherman, he wasn't a first-round draft pick. Cam Chancellor, he wasn't a first-round draft pick. Brandon Browner or whatever his name was, he wasn't. Ricochet. Yeah, appreciate you, K. Hayes. He wasn't. They didn't have none of these guys. Bobby Wagner, yeah, he was drafted early. Earl Thomas, but these guys played together in the 12th man. Man, people were shaking. I don't think that they was nervous. They weren't nervous when they had to play against the opponent, the opposition. They wasn't nervous at all. They're like, bring it. Bring it. And all of that stuff works, Cowboy Nation. So for us to hear and to know now that our team was nervous, shoot. You're not prepared. I told people in my morning video, and you prepared, and I know some of you guys here right now studied for a test, and you studied all night, and you know what's on that test like the back of your hand. And then don't let it be an open book test. You studied all night, man, your test come around, shoot. Tests normally take 2 hours to complete, but if you studied, you go in there and you finish that test in 15 to 30 minutes. The nervous one still shaking. An hour and 30 minutes. The teacher saying 15 more minutes. You sitting there like, oh, Lord. You just start blindly, start thinking of a game that you're going to put on that Scantron sheet, because you're nervous, you're scared, you're timid. But in the back part of your mind, you know for sure you didn't study. You're not qualified for it. And you just hoping. And the Cowboys went into that 49ers game hoping. They didn't study. They didn't prepare themselves. I tell people all the time it's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than to have the opportunity and not be prepared. Them boys nervous, jittery, scared. Mark says in the 90s, we had an elite coach and players. Our good players were elevated by JJ's hype like that, and an elite player makes plays versus better teams. We don't. Now, Mark, this is where I have to beg to differ. You see, when Jimmy Johnson entered into the league, it was unknown to go grab a college guy, right? So Jimmy Johnson was viewed upon at the time before he won his Super Bowl. And this guy, this hotshot guy, he don't know what the hell he's doing, right? And the eliteness as far as the defensive side of the coin, it was zero respect. Everybody on that defensive side didn't get no respect at all. None of them. Look, nobody was given to the Pro Bowl, right? So these boys was overlooked. And on top of that, they was like, John, Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin, Troy, and all of those boys, yeah, they good and all. But Jim Kelly, it was always, hey, but Jim Kelly, that team hot. The Bills, Bruce Armstrong, whatever his name is, Bruce Smith, I meant to say, Bruce Smith, Thurman Thomas, Irvin Fryer, I believe, or Andre Rison, whatever, Andre Reed, I meant to say. All of those boys, they were given all of the praises during that time frame because they've been there before. They've been to the Super Bowl. They've been kicking people's tails. They just couldn't win the Super Bowl. People were still giving praises to the Washington football team at the time. It was just so much negative to the Cowboys because they thought that we was going to fold. But then when we started winning, that's when we got the praises of elite this, elite that. But before that time frame, I remember people were saying, man, shoot, look at Jerome Bettis, man. Look how he running. Oh, look at Natron Means, all of those other boys. The 49ers were that hot team at the time. Ricky Waters and Roger Craig before he got moved off. But it was everybody but the Cowboys. And that's why I remember vividly of always fighting for the Cowboys, always supporting Troy, and it was always Troy. He was good, but he wasn't this or he wasn't that. Natron Means. yeah, but it is what it is. And even I see East Camden in here. Even your Eagles team was known to be one of those teams that like, hey, y'all better watch out for those Eagles in the earlier mid parts of the 90s. And what was the other team? We got spanked by the Detroit Lions. Y'all remember that? The Detroit Lions beat our tail. All right, so let's listen to the playmaker. Let's get this podcast going.
Mike, I know every game's different, but in this game, did you put more blame on the coaching or the players in this game?
Dude, Emmett and I stood in that tunnel before every game. I'm going to tell you this. We looked at each other, and we said, we called ourselves double trouble by land or by air. And the day before we hit the field, if we don't show up, we got no shots.
Big
Period.
facts.
That's the whole reason we did that. Because we knew if we didn't show up, we got no shot. Our stars didn't show up. We had no shot. Whenever you got disorder, dysfunction. We can't have our stars putting up role player numbers like 31 yards rushing, 1 catch for 21 yards, 69 passer rating, and then have our role players putting up numbers like Schultz and Wilson. That's a disorder. Trying to make our role player stars, our stars role player, that's a disorder, and the team dysfunction, and our ass is home.
Oh my gosh, man! Hey! Oh my God!
No.
Let me give him applause though. Look. Oh my gosh, man!
Mike, Troy was talking about your guy beating beating the man on the other side. We're worried too much about scheming guys open. Is it on the receivers? Is it on the coaching to get the receivers the ball?
Now. That's the NFL now, guys. I've been talking about that for a while when you see it. And that's why as we start rating guys, like we want to rate wide receivers, he's better than him, and we do it on numbers when it's system beating system now. It's not man beating man. That's why you're going to get these so-called boy geniuses to try to figure out a way to beat a system, and then I can get less players and come back and beat better players because I'm beating a system. The days of man beating man, we'll never have them again.
Ooh, I just wish I could pick Troy up and put him and Irvin in the same room to have that discussion. Systems. And my thing is with this particular system, how do we get our guys open? Because I don't see this system working in that particular light. I don't see like the McVay system, or if you want to use scheme as a word, because scheme is more fitting. Because how are you scheming? What are you doing? Are you relying, like in this particular system, you relying on the quarterback to make the necessary adjustments? Are you relying on the quarterback to make the necessary reads or what have you? Or is your system is creating an alleyway, an opening, whereas the mismatch is going to be utilized and used? Because from my knowledge, from what we were able to see in the last maybe 4 or 5 games, Schultz was a key point of this system, right? And the utilization of Cedric Wilson was a king utilization of this particular system of using the middle of the field. But we never got a chance because of the last 5 games, CeeDee Lamb had less than 6 targets, right? And we knew without a shadow of a doubt that Amari Cooper had to beg for the ball, and he got it one time. So what type of system the Cowboys really are operating out of to beat the opposing team? And if the 49ers go to win the Super Bowl, does that make us losing to the less dramatic? To them less dramatic? Oh, make them losing to them less dramatic. Okay, I see what you're saying. Like, there was a stat line one time that I looked up in the earlier parts of 2000, and I was saying that every team that the Cowboys lost to in the playoff, they eventually went to the Super Bowl. And I recall one year we made it to the playoff. We lost to the Carolina Panthers. They went to the Super Bowl. They lost to the Patriots. And then one year we lost to there was another team that we lost to when we made it to the playoff, and they went off and went to the Super Bowl and ultimately won it. I know one year the Giants, we made it to the Super Bowl, we lost to them, and now we went to the Super Bowl. We made it to the playoff and we lost in that game to the Giants, and they went off to the Super Bowl. I get what you're saying out of that. If the 49ers go on ahead and go to the Super Bowl, then it would be less dramatic. But then again, we look at it like, man, coaching plays a major role, because if you look at the 49ers roster, from our roster to their roster, it's really nothing that you can really say to yourself, man, they light years ahead of us. No, it's just a matter of coaching. I get it, our offensive line is in shambles, but you had a healthy Terrence Steele sitting on the bench watching, right? Who was formidable in many of games when you were 6-1. I can only close my eyes and imagine if you just pick Kyle Shanahan up and you put him on this team, we would see more and more utilization of CeeDee Lamb. I don't think that they would just sit there and say, okay, here's 5 targets, right? I don't think that you will see Amari Cooper with only less than 7 targets in his pass game. I just don't see it that way out of Kyle Shanahan's system. I don't think that even with a torn PCL injury that Ezekiel Elliott will only have 31 rushing yards. So I don't see that with the league leading rusher attempt guy, rushing average guy, 5.5, only touched the ball 4 times out of Tony Pollard. I think that Kyle Shanahan would have utilized those boys and those weapons, regardless. And I'm not even talking about the quarterback at this point.
Would never have those again. And sometimes it takes away from when it's just time to get down, dirty, and gritty. You know what I mean? And that's one of the things I've always explained. Troy's right. We're expecting now the coaches to come in and design a way.
Whoa, Jametta, we only got 31 likes. Now, I don't do this show for likes, but you mean to tell me we got 500 people watching and only 31 likes?
Shame. Shame. Shame.
Yeah, y'all want me to go ahead and leave, man. It's going close to 2 o'clock. We can listen to this thing later on. You know, it's 196. Okay. All right. Good. Yeah, almost 208. Okay, good. I'm just making sure because the likes let me know y'all appreciate it. It's all free content, baby. You know, I could be doing something else right now. I got a report I got to do for the JOB and everything else. Appreciate y'all. Keep it going? Okay, good. Because I was about to hit this beat right here. You're listening in to Nothing But the Bears, you know.
To make a man get open, and then instead of expecting the man to use his talent, would never have those again. And sometimes it takes away from when it's just time to get down, dirty, and gritty. You know what I mean? And that's one of the things I've always explained. Troy's right. We're expecting now the coaches to come in and design a way to make a man get open, and then instead of expecting the man to use his talents and gift and get somewhere and get open.
Playmaker Michael Irvin on Sean and RJ here on 105.3 The Fan. What did you think of the final play and the way all that went down?
I had no problem with what was called. It's just the execution of what was called. I totally understand. You can get you one good play from the 30 that's much better than a Hail Mary or a throw from the 40-yard line. But I was fearing. When Mike McCarthy came on, he said, yeah, most people tell you 32 Hail Mary plays from the 40 or 50. You'd rather take that one play, throw into the end zone from the 30 or 25. He's right. All that is true. But you got to also calculate in the risk of trying to get there. And that's the issue. So I call that convincing or confusing people, which that was confusing people. Yeah, you're right. It's a better option. But what will it cost you to try to get that better option must be put into the equation, and it cost us the game.
No doubt, man. It cost us the game. I think that if you threw it to the hook area, you would have had more time. You would have had one more throw. I think you would have had at least 2 to 3 seconds if you just throw the ball to the hook area, and it was wide open. And then now you would have been at the 35. I've seen Dak Prescott throw a touchdown from the 35 this year. So I didn't like the draw play. It just still makes me mad even when I talk about it. Shout out to the people on my Facebook, man. Can y'all do me a huge favor, man? If y'all can share this content on Facebook, I really appreciate you. Shout out to you, George. If you share it to your groups, if you share it to your uncle, your cousin, Shaniqua, Pookie, and Ray Ray. That goes a long way. I really appreciate you guys, on the Facebook, by the way. But I only see 27 shares, and I know sharing is caring. I know y'all can just help a brother out and share it. But here's the thing, Cowboy Nation, and it shouldn't have gotten down to the last play. I know football is a game of inches, but for us to go back and forth with this is crazy. We had a lot of time. That series, the last play before they got extra life, we had 2 minutes left on the clock. We're supposed to deliver at that point. If we were focused, it just seemed like we didn't call up or draw up the best plays, and we were not focused. It shouldn't have got down to that point. And I would be selling you guys cheap if I say, man, Cowboys lost because the aficionado didn't get off the ball, didn't, give the ball back to us with 1 second left right in that spot area. I don't want to say that, Cowboy Nation. We shouldn't have let it get to that point. And we're not finna harp on this for 2 to 3 years like we did with the Dez catch, no catch. Yeah, Dez caught the ball. Granted, the NFL dropped the bag on that one. And they took them 4 years to say, yeah, we made a mistake. But before that time frame, DeMarco Murray fumbled the ball and the kicker missed the kick. Playoff football, you got to be the sharpest knife in the drawer. And looking at the Cowboys, dealing with what we dealing with, we need somebody to hold these guys accountable. We do. East Camden, even though East Camden over here, Eagles fan, I feel you, 2 minutes is a lot of time. 2 minutes, we used to say with 2 minutes with Tom Brady or Peyton Manning or Aaron Rodgers, that's 3 hours to them. That's a lot of time. That's a whole bunch of time to make some things happen. So we had the time. We just didn't capitalize off of it. And the 49ers is finna go play the Green Bay Packers, and I believe the 49ers are going to beat the Green Bay Packers. I just feel like they're the more – if you're talking about physicality and you're talking about DBs who refuse to tackle, that's the Green Bay Packers DBs. And if you're the 49ers fan right now, and if you're the Green Bay Packer fan right now, go watch the Cleveland Brown game. Go watch that Cleveland Brown game. All right.
Michael, please help us with penalties. We cannot get an answer. Is it on the coaches? Is it on the players? Is it on
the coaches, man? It's on the coaches.
All right. How did Jimmy coach penalties?
I don't need to hear this.
With fear. That's what he did. With fear. You got enough of them, your bet is gone. That's what you do. That's all you can do. That's all you can do. Hey, man, you get enough of this, we're going to make a change. You do this enough, we're going to make a change. Fear is what has to drive it. And I know it's harder.
Penalties.
With fear. That's what he did. With fear. You got enough of them, your bet is gone. That's what you do. That's all you can do.
Is it on the players? Is it on
the coaches, man? It's on the coaches.
All right, how did Jimmy coach penalties?
With fear. That's what he did. With fear. You got enough of them, your bet is gone. That's what you do. That's all you can do.
Hey, Lord bless those ears over there. Oh my gosh, man. Oh my gosh, man. Let me rewind again.
It's a better option, but what will it cost you to try to get that better option? Must be put into the equation, and it cost us the game.
Michael, please help us with penalties. We cannot get an answer. Is it on the coaches? Is it on the players? Is it on
the coaches, man? It's on the coaches.
All right, how did Jimmy coach penalties?
With fear. That's what he did. With fear. You got enough of them, your bet is gone. That's what you do. That's all you can do. That's all you can do. Hey, man, you get enough of this, we're going to make a change. You do this enough, we're going to make a change. Fear is what has to drive it. And I know it's harder now.
Ain't no way, man. Y'all like, we ain't going nowhere today. Oh, my gosh, man. Oh, my gosh, man. Oh, here you go, right here. Here you go. Let me see if I can download this tape right here. Oh my gosh, man. We ain't establishing fear. Oh my gosh, man. That right there. Oh. Let me see if I can correct this a little bit. Shout out to CTB, though, by the way, for this beautiful illustration. And I'm not ragging on Coach, man, but somebody got to call a spade, man. It says right here, the Dallas Cowboys, 1,605 yards lost in the 2021 season. Let me repeat. 1,605 yards lost in the 2021 season. It states in small writing below 1,192 penalty yards plus 413 yards gained wiped out by flags. Now, we can literally talk about, like, let's be real, we can talk about the aficionados and they hate the Cowboys and we can cry that song and all of that. But we got to look into this thing from this point of view, too. Ain't no way, man. Y'all sitting in these meetings and y'all sitting there saying, hey, Coach, we got 1,605 yards lost and ain't nobody getting chastised? Ain't nobody getting their axe?
Shame. Shame. Shame.
I mean, there got to be something. Now, granted, I get it. The officials don't like the Cowboys. Jerry Jones sued the NFL and ultimately won. But we can't be sitting here thinking that you're going to win the Super Bowl or you're going to win multiple playoff games if your team got 1,605. I know 130 of those yards come from Connor Williams, right? We just know that for sure, right? 130 of them at least. And then even in his playoff game, the biggest of the biggest play, you look down the field and then you see that yellow flag because Connor Williams is holding on to the man, right? That's coming in from the inside. But come on, because everything that you do in the playoff is going to be magnified to the 10 to the 20th power. So any little inefficiencies that you had during the regular season, you have to understand that this is not good. Some of those things like false starts, offsides, you got to combat against that one. That's just the bottom line. You can't say, well, the official had nothing for. Oh, let me call I almost cussed. Lord, please forgive me. But the officials have nothing to do with you line up in the neutral zone. Come on.
From them, your better will it cost you to try to get that better option must be put into the equation, and it cost us the game.
Michael, please help us with penalties. We cannot get an answer. Is it on the coaches? Is it on the players? Is it on
the coaches, man? It's on the coaches.
All right, how did Jimmy coach penalties?
With fear. That's what he did. With fear. You got enough of them, your butt is gone. That's what you do. That's all you can do. That's all you can do. Hey, man, you get enough of this, we're going to make a change. You do this enough, we're going to make a change. Fear is what has to drive it. And I know it's harder now with contracts because everybody, my contract is what it is. You gave me this much guarantee. But most of the guys that earn that kind of money, those are not the guys that you really got to worry about just making blatant mistakes. And sometimes it's the guys that don't earn that kind of money. So the fear factor must be implemented. We got to be scared to make – you don't see Bill Belichick now making those kinds of penalties. because they know Bill Belichick ain't with that. Either Bill going to get you out of here, and Jimmy would get you out of Dallas, and go so far as to try to make sure he affected where you were going. Don't you put penalties on my team. That's just the reality of it, man. 14 penalties, man. In a game like that. I was so happy. I love Randy Gregory, man. Well, I understand the frustration. But what the hell are you doing grabbing that dude and throwing him down right there? That was a crucial penalty. And that's what even that, though, I understand we're going to have penalties. And I understand aggressive penalties. I want to come back. Oh man, I want to come back and block this dude, and I catch him on the blind side, and they call that unnecessary roughness. That's okay. I ain't worried about that. That's aggressive. I was trying to send a message. I know you never. But Randy Gregory tackling somebody, that's just ignorance. That's stupidity. That's undisciplined, and that's losing. And it's the timing of them.
Yes.
It's not just that it's 14 penalties. It's when did you make those 14 penalties at crucial moments that cost the game? And I'm mad at CD for catching one pass, but he had another 30-yarder in there that got called back. They had a couple plays that got called back, but still, man, it was just. And then I got to sit on that damn show with Stephen A. and he's talking about all our fans. He said, I was saying, this ain't part of the show, people. I would not sit in a meeting and make this part of the show. He hijacked this show. He had hijacked this show and made it up. It was so, y'all listen, y'all saw our fans, man. I was saying, this ain't part of the show. When did you make those 14 penalties? At crucial moments that cost the game. And I'm mad at CD for catching one pass, but he had another 30-yarder in there that got called back. They had a couple plays that got called back, but still, man, it was just. And then I got to sit on that damn show with Stephen A. and he's talking about all our fans. He said, I was saying, this ain't part of the show, people. I would not sit in a meeting and make this part of the show. He hijacked this show. He had hijacked this show and made it up. It was so. Y'all listen. Y'all saw our fans, man. You do understand. You do understand why people hate us so much.
Right.
They can't understand the love we have for our Cowboys.
Right.
So to them, that was comedy at its best. That was, oh my God.
But Mike, Stephen A., I heard him. Blamed you. He said you are part of the problem. The overhype. We booked you. You caused Choppy and I to lose money booking hotel rooms in L.A. You told us to get the transport. We even got a driver to kind of be like you. And he said you are part of the. We got suits. We got a handkerchief or whatever it is. And you are part of the problem with the overhyping every year.
Shout out to you, Yarber, man. It's 400 yards more than Nick Chubb had rushing. Yeah, my gosh, man. There's a lot of yards, man. People don't realize, man, there's a lot of penalty yards, man, of netted gain, like the 32-yard that was taken away and plus the penalty. That's how they added up with all of that yards on that thing over here. When we look at it right here, there's a lot of yards, fam. 1,605 yards worth of penalties. I feel what the playmaker is feeling, and I feel what they're saying, because literally people are blaming me. They said, Lord, it's your fault that the Cowboys haven't won a Super Bowl in 26 years. People like you, Lord. You people listen to you. I don't control the outcome of the game. I promise you, if I did, man, it would be a whole different show. It'll be a whole different show. I promise you, it'll be a whole different show. Hey, y'all will be saying, man, that law nation is so goddamn cutthroat, man. Oh my goodness, those players be scared. They be catching bricks all week. Why these players got blisters on their hands? That's not within the CBA ruling or whatever, Law throwing bricks at them, saying drop one. He got those boys running hills, old school stuff. And the boys running hills, plyometrics, all up in the stadium. Plyometrics, calisthenics, all of this stuff. They be doing that stuff. It'll be a full lockdown program, old school style, for dealing with Law Nation over here. Man, hey, man, Where they going? Where they going? They going to Oxnard? No, they going to Natchez, Mississippi. You know, we got some hills over there in Natchez, the old Indian Mound. Them boys coming all the way to Natchez to work out. Why they in Natchez all of a sudden? You know.
Listen, let me tell you something, man. You can sit there and sublease that hotel room and sell them tickets and make great money.
You can.
I gave you a great business deal right there. You can make so those tickets are going up, going to top. So I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying. And what I saw, and at that moment I saw that they had a running game. It was all like I had said before. It had started commingling. You saw the running game. You saw the passing game. They were looking great. And the defense was coming and turning the ball over.
Right.
Now, getting to that point and sustaining that point are two different things, and we did not. We got there, but we didn't sustain it.
What happened to Dak in the second half of this season, and where is your elite confidence in him as the guy to carry this franchise? What happened to Dak Prescott in the offense?
Boy, that's the question there. Because if I answer it, I worry about who else knows, and I'm pretty sure people in the NFL have seen it. And we talked about it when we talked about people junking things up on Dak and everything. And our offense, you know, most people in around our league nationally says that our offense is antiquated. You know, because they want somebody to be designing more schemes to get people open, as opposed to what we were just talking about, allowing your man to beat somebody with timing. You know, so now I put a lot of what happened with Dak on Kellen Moore. You see them junking it up in here. You see, okay, we're holding the ball too long, allowing people to. So let's come up with some easy things. Let's catch them off guard. They're trying to junk it up. Let's do something to make it easy. Come up with something. I don't know what it is because I'm not in those coaching rooms every day, but that's on you. Don't tell me that we're going to go the whole season and keep saying, "Oh, Dak figured this out. Dak figured that out." No, you help him figure it out by giving him some easy things that he can go to when he sees this kind of situation and unsure. It's one thing if you got a team that's junking it up, everybody coming in line of scrimmage, but you got a real good understanding of where they're dropping back out and how they're dropping out. But if I don't have a great understanding of how you're dropping out of the junking it up, then I got to come with some easy things to beat the junking it up till you get out of it, and then Dak can get back to doing what he does. That's your up. No, you help him figure it out by, you know, so now. Wait, you know, because they want somebody to be designing more schemes to get people open, as opposed to what we were just talking about, allowing your man to beat somebody with timing. You know, so now I put a lot of what happened with Dak on Kellen Moore.
I just wanted to stop it right there. I'm not finna blame the young offensive coordinator to the 1,000,000%. I'm not finna do that. It's not fair to that man. Third year ever calling plays, right? Probably never been in this situation, right? And I'm not finna put all of the blame on Dak Prescott. I refuse to do that. I freaking refuse to put all of the blame on those two young guys. It's a shame.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
That the coach, the reason why we went out there and got you is to help this offense out, period. To be the advisory, right? And I'm talking about Mike McCarthy. He's the head. The kids are just running up the light bill and running up the water. Dak Prescott left the refrigerator door wide open, right? This is your house, man. And you let those kids wreck it. You the ones with all of the experience.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
You wrecked it. You seeing literally the house catching on fire, and you just sitting there like this. You watching it. You watching that young kid trying to put out the fire. Sometimes you just got to step in and say, hey, man, watch me do this thing. Watch how I move around in this house. This is and the reason why I'm upset and I'm trying to hold it all in, I get it where the playmaker is saying, yeah, it's Kellen Moore's fault. But we got to look at the bigger picture. It's not like this was the first game we seen something like this happen, right? This has been going on for multiple months. You literally can type in what's wrong with Dak, and you will see it go all the way back to when they had the Centennial game, when we played against the Broncos. And the following weeks before that little stretch where we had the 3 games in 12 days or what have you. You can literally see people complaining about the offense then. Nobody was complaining about the offense right around the Patriots time when we were doing our thing, when we went on that run. Nobody complaining. Matter of fact, Kellen Moore, people were saying, like, hey, let's fire Mike McCarthy now and elevate Kellen Moore as the head coach. Literally. You can just go into my comment section. I keep it up on the live feed. You can look at it right here to those weeks, and you'll see. You can see even people pivoting, even me. I fall on the sword, and I would say, guys, hey, I was wrong, right? I said, from this day forward, Dak Prescott is no longer Dak Prescott. He is now elite Dak Prescott. Y'all remember that? Let me know if y'all remember that. Right? But a lot of things changed just like that since that bye week. Here's the situation and the honest truth. I would rather for us to lose against the Patriots. If I knew if that was going to happen with Dak Prescott on that last play. I would rather for us to take that L. I would rather for us to lose. Go into that bye week, come back against the Broncos, and Dak Prescott still go on his roll. I would rather. That was, if you a Cowboy fan, it was hell because it was this was going on. The nation divided. It's hell, baby. Because that's when everybody was against Mike McCarthy, right? And everybody was like, Kellen Moore, we don't want to lose him, right? Then after that Broncos game, stuff started to break down, and then Cowboy fans versus Cowboy fans. We whooping everybody's tail. We lose one game. People like, hey, we needed that loss, right? Mike McCarthy sat back and did what everybody else do in this modern day time. When they see fighting going on, you know what I'm saying? People get into an altercation or a fight or a man, you can just see literally a man twice the size of a woman beating her down up in the airport or smacking her around in the mall. Instead of doing something about it, they just do this. They record it. And that's what Mike McCarthy did. He didn't intervene. He didn't say, hey, young kid, this is your 3rd year ever calling offense. We was on a roll. He just sat back there and said, okay, you run your play sheet. You do your thing. And what really got me was this right here, Cowboy Nation, is that everybody in that coaching staff knew that Ezekiel Elliott had a PCL tear. Everybody knew that he had a PCL tear, and they refused to say, hey, Zeke, man, we like the Warriors mentality, but based upon where our record looked like, it was like a 90% chance we going to the playoffs. Dude, you are a $90 million running back. we're going to have you sitting on the bench and resting up a little bit so you can be healthy when the playoff time come around. But instead, ooh, catch that angle right there. Ooh, look at that hit on that. Instead of breaking the fight up, helping the young kid out. Gerard says, Law Nation, we won when the head coach was out. I'm just saying, shame. Yeah?
Shame. Shame.
Yeah, we did one.
Shame.
When they brought in Dan Quinn to coach a few games, right? And then I think Dan Quinn got that C-19, and Joe Witt Jr. had to call a few games, We had made the necessary adjustments. But this team, heading into the 2022 season, one of these coordinators will not be here. One of them, if not both of them, not be here, but one of these coordinators gone. If I'm a better man, Dan Quinn gone. You don't get all of those offers and say, I'll just kick my feet up and stay, Somebody going to throw some money at him. Fire Mike McCarthy. We'll find out by Friday of how Jerry Jones say. If Jerry Jones say, hey, man, Mike is our coach, and I believe he's going to take us to the promised land, they'll let me know everything. But if he still hang around with Mike McCarthy and Kellen Moore is still on his team, the moment the Cowboys have a horrible loss in 2022, he's fired midseason. That will be his angle because that's what they did to Wade Phillips, right? It wasn't like he got fired during the offseason. He got fired midseason, right? Let's see. Dan Quinn will be our head coach, but next month. Okay. Let me tell you the options. Dan Quinn got the Giants, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Broncos, the Texans. I believe they're on the table. The Chicago Bears, Vikings. That's a lot of options. A lot of options. That Dak fumble cost us the game. I think Dak fumble was in the Cards game. That was a horrible fumble that cost us the game. The interception cost us the game. And the Dolphins, yeah. And the Raiders. See, there's too many teams out there. It's too many teams out there. And the Cowboys franchise is good. Don't get me wrong. It's nice. But the Raiders is a branded franchise too. Raiders come to knocking. Dan Quinn, man, hey, silver and black. Let's get it back, And we got a new stadium. We in Vegas. They can start throwing some things around. And the problem is if you're working under Jerry, as a coach, and I love Jerry. We all love Jerry, right? We all love him, and the problem is with Jerry is that he's going to be that guy that's in the room with you all the time, and he's just overlooking everything that you do. You might want to chastise somebody, but you be like, oh, man. Shoot, he in the room watching, man. This is his boy right there. I can't really chastise him, And I know that's a hard thing to do when your supervisor or your boss is in the room. Sometimes you want to cut loose. You want to tell that player how you really feel. But that may be and that's just how the structure is around here. So you're going to have that in your mind too, or on your plate. I love my home. I can't have another man living in my home over here telling me like, hey, dog, no. One of my brothers say, hey, Law, I need to come stay with you, man. I would rather take some money out and go pay for him, help him get an apartment somewhere versus him staying with me. He could probably, maybe a week or so, but I would rather have, my house to myself. Maybe a lady, you can work something out, but female in that case. But from an alpha male standpoint, no. Sam like roll like that. No, no catching the couch over here. You know, no. I would rather pay. Look, you bad on your luck. I'd rather spend half of my money and go get your apartment somewhere. I put something on it. Right? I help you go get a job or something like that. Cutthroat around here, baby. And that could be the mindset of Dan Quinn. He could probably get tired of, walking around thinly, Clarence says 100%. Yeah, that's law. You know what I'm saying? Not even a week, TW. No, I don't want to get him too comfortable. Survival of the fittest around this mug. I slept out of my car before, so shoot. Hey, you an able-body, got 2 hands and feet, you got 2 eyes, dude. You better get out there and bust them. Better get out there and make it happen. That's just what it is. That's the reality of it. You know what I'm saying? But I'll help you out. Look, man, these apartments over here, it's not the best community, but I don't think people are so soft these days, man. Everybody want comfort. Everybody want the central air conditioning. Everybody want things given to them. No, you got to work and grind for it, baby. I mean that when I say if you want a thing bad enough to go out there and fight for it, to work day and night for it. I mean that. You know what I'm saying? To give up your time and your peace and your sleep for it. It's my castle, man. I want to walk around comfortable in my castle. Give you about a week. Yep. I'm putting money in your hand to go get your apartment. I'm helping you out. Help is on the way. Let's see. I have a water cooler. Right. Dak is our QB. Yep. So my operation and let me see if I can find this thing right quick. I wanted to share this one. Shout out to Swayze. Hit me up on Instagram. And let me see if I can find this clip right quick. Y'all bear with me.
The second half of the season when they were just on the...
I can't play the audio because, Cowboys.com, we don't want them to come for me. But I want you guys to watch that episode. The joint show with Kellen, Dan, and Dak, the Dallas Cowboys. I think it's called Hanging with the Boys or something like that, DallasCowboys.com. Listen to that show. Oh, I think I'm going to just play this little excerpt right here. Y'all can hear this, though.
The reason why we're sitting here on Wednesday saying that we don't have a game next week.
If you want to keep running the offense the way in which you're running it, yes, they will be.
Do you think, which I want to...
Because now you're asking these guys to sit back and protect for 3 or 4 seconds.
When you know they can't do it.
That is a separate issue.
Watch this, what they say right
it's
here.
So frustrating that we just don't know what's going to happen. I mean, Kellen Moore...
He ain't going nowhere.
I think you're probably right, but we still don't know that. I want to ask you, because you touched on this with the Josh Allen thing, do you think Dak has a patience problem? Because he's talked about it a few times over the course of the second half of the season when they were just on this up and down ride. He talked about being greedy, trying to force chunk plays that maybe weren't there instead of just taking what was in front of him. And we talked about it with Kellen Moore. Maybe it's the quarterback.
I have to go to who's his teacher?
Kellen Moore.
That's who spends the time with him. That's his mentor at this point. Now, even though he was underneath him on the depth chart, now he's his doggone coach. And whatever the coach is teaching you, that's what's going to show up on the field.
All right, so I want you guys to go listen to that whole podcast, man. I put the link down there. Those boys were speaking the truth, man. And there's no shade or jade at Dak Prescott. There's nothing wrong with being criticized, but sometimes you need to be criticized or critiqued during the game or during the process. And the person that's going to be doing that is Kellen Moore with 3 years of experience. So either Mike McCarthy sees this and make the necessary adjustment and say, hey, the quarterback is not playing to the level we want him to play at, regardless of the injury, regardless of the front five. But there got to be some level of accountability. Some level. I forgot the guy that was over there for the Patriots to help Tom Brady. I think his name was Charlie something. But he held Tom accountable. Charlie Wise, I believe his name was Charlie Wise or somebody like that. Those first few years, hard coaching. It wasn't given to him easily. Bill Belichick would challenge him in the process week to week. Yeah. It wasn't easy. So it wasn't easy for Aaron Rodgers, by the way, because of the way it was structured over there. Sitting on the bench for those 3 years, watching somebody else throwing the ball, learning from them. So when I got the opportunity, I didn't give it back. Those type of things go a long way. But when you have somebody, like I said earlier, that you outperformed them on the field, you took their job from them, and now they coming to you to say, hey, these are the things that I want you to do. 9 times out of 10, it's going to go, I do it my way. Why should I listen to you? You never made this. You never made $75 million. You never won a playoff game. You never won more than 2 or 3 games in a season. Why should I listen to you? I beat you out. I may not ever say it, but that's just how it's going to be perceived from when you hear it, when you telling me what to do. Some people would never get that. So what I want for this offseason, and they mentioned John Kitna multiple times on this within the confines of the podcast. My guy, me and Big Game James, we talked about John Kitna multiple times on how he would challenge, how he would make sure that your coaching, me coaching you and me giving you strategies, don't just stop. Don't just stop in OTAs and training camp. It's forever. I'm in your ear. It's forever. When you do something bad, you're not finna go sit on a bench and hold your head down. No, I'm right with you. I'm showing you things that you need to pick up for the next play. And Doug Nussmeier, he may be that person when the doors close or what have you, when they go to their rooms, their individual rooms through the week. But nah, dog, nah. I need you to be coaching me right now. I need for us to get a competitive edge, a competitive game right now. Now, when Dak Prescott be in his 12th and 13th year, I get it. I know he's going into his 7th year. Maybe he can be freely by himself. But no, I need John Kitna in his ear now. But he's somewhere coaching a high school football team. I thought there was no salary cap as it relates to coaching. I want you guys to do a quick homework assignment for me. Go back and watch when John Kitna was the quarterback coach. Watch what they do on the sideline after every series. It's that extra movement. It's picked off to the 20, to the 10. It's a pick 6, or it's picked off and the quarterback do this number. Quarterback take the tablet. It's none of that stuff. That's the proper time for me to come to you and say, hey, coach, I'm coach. Hey, come here. Let me show you what you did. All right, so on this play, safety went down. No. You know, that type of stuff, right? It's that type of training that I want, that extra competitive edge. Some people ain't feeling me now. No. Greatness exudes greatness. Bill Belichick, every offseason, will call Jimmy Johnson, and they go fishing. pick his brain. What do you do in this type of situation? By the way, what do you do in this type of scenario? What would be a better way to move on from this player? Same could be said. Hold on. Tear up the place over here. There we go. Ghost of Tom Landry had to come in and knock some stuff over. But that thing moved, scared the hell out of me. But neither here nor there. The ghost, I'm talking so much real, the ghost said, hey, they getting crunk. Stuff moving around in here. I need to get them up out of here, baby. Yeah, I said, yeah, no, just the dang picture wall that fell off the dang thing. Sometimes good or great players, they go reach out to other great players across the league, across the sport. And I hate to be mentioning this man's name once again, but we've seen him do this. Tom Brady would go reach out to Michael Jordan. They go play a game of golf or a pickup game of basketball just to pick his brain, just to pick his mind, right? Just to gain that extra vibe. And I'm seeing a little bit from Parsons. And I'm not saying that Dak is not doing this. But Parsons is going out there. DeMarcus Ware, what's up, man? Let me just join a film session with you, man. Let me just talk to you, man. Let me talk to you about this. Let me talk to you about that. Hey, Killer Ray. Oh, I'm sorry, Ray. What's going on, man? What's good, man? Let's hang out for a quick second, man. Let's chill. Let's kick it a little bit. Right? Hector says John Kennedy is alpha male. He's a guy that's going to correct you right on the spot. And he said, hey, man, don't hold that ball for 4 seconds. I want you to hold it for 3. I want you to get it out to this guy that's running at 7. Oh, he's running the post now. I want you to get it out to him. I don't care if it's an interception or not, but I want you to trust your mechanic. I want you to trust what you see. In quarters, I want you to go against this particular way. And we need somebody like that on the running back situation too. Matter of fact, who was the running back coach before Skip Pete? I kind of like that running back coach a little bit better. Skip Pete, to me, just sitting around there weebling and wobbling around, and he ain't really doing the thing that I like to see. You know? Who's that running back coach? I think he had cancer, and he called everybody up to a meeting. And I think, was it Brown or something like that? Give me that guy. Yep. Somebody said, Noble says, who's that lady behind you? Oh, my gosh, man. But Cowboy Nation, man, it's enough of me rumbling before I get in trouble, man. I'm talking too much. Let's stay focused. Let's stay rooted in, baby. We'll be back with some more conversation that's going to last 10 hours the next time. I thought I could just do a marathon show for 5 hours, but I can't. Let's stay focused. For those who are out there who's looking for things to complain about, just know that if you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or lied about, don't deal in lies, or hate it and yet give way to hating, and yet don't look too good nor talk too wise. If you can think and not make thought your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two imposters just the same. You guys get what I'm saying when I say that? Huh? I know you guys can. Cowboy Nation, this moment right now is yours. The off season. We got over 20 free agent guys that's out there that's going to be listening to your words, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your whole life for. broken and snooped and built back up again with worn-out tools. If you can make one heap of all of your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and loss, and lose all of your terror and never bring one word of your love. You can walk with kings and presidents nor lose the comic touch. And neither foe or loving friends can harm you, Cowboy Nation. If you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, then you, my friend, have unlocked the true meaning of what it takes to be a champion. But more importantly than all of that, you have unlocked the true meaning of what it takes to be a man, Cowboy Nation. We all dogs over here. We ain't folding up like a wallet or a lawn chair. We continue to root for this team regardless. That's been my time. I really thank you all for yours. And remember, you're listening to nothing but the best. Let's go, Cowboy Nation. Even in our downfalls, baby, we still running it up, baby. Come on. There we go. Book of Proverbs. Know about that. Get in understanding. Be blessed. Appreciate you making sense. Yeah. Come on. I still want to run it up, baby.
Don't need no deals, I make the deal. Have to take it to a meal. Lately,
go.
I just wanna run it up. Yeah. Kinda check the song. Lately, I just wanna run it up. Count that too, count it up. Yeah. Count it up. Lately, I just wanna
shout out to the ghost of Tom Landry.
I need them fives, need them tens, I need that change. To the safe, got blues inside.
Hey.
Greens and pinks, it's all the same. I still save and roll my change. Take some losses when I play. Charge it
to the game. Shout out to you, Caesar, Jameson, Gina. Appreciate you. About loyalty. For the bag, yeah.
I mix Nike with designer, I experiment.
Yeah.
You just rock what's on the shelf and I'm not feeling it. Search for the one, but baby girl, it's nothing real as this. Can't trust a soul, I keep a hammer.
Call it too legit.
I've been really in the field, love the rush, I love the feel. Lately, I just wanna run it up.
I want me
Don't need
some
no
Royal.
bills, I make
Now,
the deal.
Jerry.
I can take it to a meal. Lately, I just wanna run it up.
Don't fall for the trap.
Yeah. Trying to check the song.
Hey.
I just wanna run it up.
Come on, Gary Brown was his name. Yeah.
Lately, I just wanna run it
Appreciate
up.
you.
Yeah.
Sean.
I just be off the dome. I never own no chrome. Too many foes and clones. Yeah. I be at home alone. I be in zones alone. I be
Simba, you deliberately disobeyed me. Come on.
Don't need no deals, I make the deal. I have to take it to a meal. Lately, I just wanna run it up. Yeah. Kinda check the song. Lately, I just wanna run it up. Count that too, count it up. Lately, I just wanna run it up.
What'd you tell him?
FBI, open up! Lately, I just wanna run it up. Lately, I just wanna run it up.
Peasy. I hope all is well. Put your prayers together. He said he got C19 in his knee. Man, you overcome this. There's sea moss in you, man. Some vitamin C, some sunlight, some zinc. Do a couple of push-ups. You're gonna win. You're gonna overcome it.
Take a drag of my cigarette. Breathe me out, breathe you in.
Get well soon, Peasy. Yeah.
Take a bite of my burger, babe. Save the last bite for you. For you. Ooh. Don't let the street
Shout out to you, William Williams.
all alone.
Oh, I got this hoodie about 3 years ago, man, believe it or not. From the Cowboys Pro Shop in Cedar Hill. Shout out to you, Jay Irvin. My road credit's not working anymore. It's okay. We'll figure it out. I'm praying for you, Gina. You overcome it as well. C19. Hope you feel better. Don't let the street lights hit you all alone. Appreciate you.
But we'll rewatch at Law Nation.
Thank you so much, Sally Lawyer. Appreciate you so much for the donation.
Late, but we'll rewatch at Law Nation.
Appreciate you. Shout out to you, Sadiqua. Appreciate you for your love and adulation. So far, so far. If a baby grain can fly, fly on, fly on, fly on, fly on. And remember, fly on. You're listening to nothing but the best. I love saying that. We out.